There comes a moment in every life when the old version of you simply stops working. Your habits stop working, your mindset stops working, your routines stop working, your excuses stop working, your comfort zone stops protecting you. You reach a point where staying the same hurts more than changing. And that's the moment this audiobook is made for. Welcome to Rebuild from Zero. Destroy the old you. Become the one you were meant to be. In this audiobook, you will learn how to burn down outdated identities, walk away from the version of you holding you back, reset your life from the ground up, rebuild your discipline, direction, mindset, and emotional power, and rise stronger than you've ever been. Because the truth is simple. Sometimes you don't need motivation. You need a rebirth. If anything resonates with you as you listen, hit like, not for me, but as a commitment to your future self. Now breathe. Let the world around you fade for a moment, and let these words shape the beginning of your transformation. Dear friend, you are definitely on the right track if you are watching this video. Like, subscribe, and write in the comments which topic or problem concerns you the most. We promise to prepare a professional video explanation at your request. Chapter 1. Why the old you must die. Most people try to improve their lives while clinging to the same identity that created their suffering. They try to succeed with the habits that made them fail. They try to grow with the mindset that kept them stuck. They try to become new while holding on to everything old. It doesn't work, because the version of you that is struggling right now cannot lead you to the life you want. Read that again. The current you cannot deliver the future you, not because you're broken, but because your identity is outdated. You've evolved internally, but your habits haven't caught up. Your ambition grew, but your discipline didn't. Your vision expanded, but your self-belief stayed small. Your hunger increased, but your strategies remained old. So life feels misaligned. You feel stuck not because you're failing, but because you've outgrown your current self. The old you is too small for the life you want to live, and there is only one solution. That version must die. Not violently, not dramatically, but intentionally. A peaceful execution of everything that is no longer you. The painful truth. Few ever face. Most people never change because they try to protect their old identity. They hold on to their story. This is just who I am. They hold on to their limitations. I've always been this way. They hold on to their excuses. I don't have the discipline. I don't have the energy. I don't have the confidence. But here is the secret. Identity is not what you are. Identity is what you repeatedly accept, and you can stop accepting it. You can decide today, I am done with this version of myself. I am done with the patterns that destroy me. I am done with the habits that weaken me. I am done with the story that traps me. This is the first step of rebirth, a refusal to carry the old identity one more step into your future. Chapter 2. Hitting zero, the most powerful place you'll ever stand. Most people fear reaching zero. They fear rock bottom. They fear the moment nothing is left to hold on to. But here's the paradox. Zero is the most powerful point in your life. Zero is clean. Zero is honest. Zero is silent enough for you to finally hear yourself. Zero strips away old expectations, old behavior patterns, old identities, old relationships, old fears, old lies. Zero removes what was never real. Because when you lose everything fake, you can finally build something real. People say, I feel like I'm starting from nothing. Good. Nothing is a foundation. Nothing is a blank page. Nothing is a reset button disguised as a crisis. The old you built the life you have now, but the new you will build the life you really want. And that construction begins at zero. Why zero feels terrifying. It's not the emptiness that scares you. It's the responsibility. At zero, you can't blame anyone. Not your parents, not your past, not your boss, not your circumstances, not your heartbreak. When you rebuild from zero, every step belongs to you. That's why zero feels heavy. But it's also why zero feels alive. because for the first time, your life is fully in your hands. And that is terrifying, but also unbelievably empowering. Chapter 3. Burn the script. Identity isn't permanent. You've been carrying a script your whole life, a quiet story in your mind about who you are and what you are allowed to be. I'm shy. I'm inconsistent. I procrastinate. I'm unlucky. I'm too emotional. I'm not disciplined. I'm not the type of person who succeeds. But here is the truth that most people never hear. Identity is a decision, not a destiny. Identity is not DNA. Identity is not fate. Identity is not fixed. Identity is a story. And stories can be rewritten. Every day, every moment, every time you show up differently. The person you believe you are is the biggest limit on the person you could become. So it's time to burn the script. Release the labels you didn't choose. Release the limitations people gave you. Release the identities you inherited but never wanted. The old you is not required for the next chapter of your life. Let that sink in. Chapter 4. The Anatomy of Self-Destruction. Before you rebuild, you must understand the architecture of the old self you're destroying. Because the old you did not appear by accident. It was built, brick by brick, habit by habit, belief by belief, fear by fear, moment by moment. Your old identity is a structure, one you unconsciously designed. Some parts were built from protection, some from trauma, some from survival, some from imitation, some from convenience, some from the need to be liked. But here's the truth. Everything you built can be unbuilt. Everything you learned can be unlearned. Everything you became can be undone. Let's break down the foundation of the old self. There are 3 pillars that support every outdated identity. 1. Old stories. These are the narratives you repeat so often that you start believing they're facts. I always quit. I'm not disciplined. I can't change. I don't deserve better. People like me don't succeed. Stories become self-fulfilling. But remember, they came from somewhere, which means they can be replaced. 2. Old attachments. Some behaviors make you miserable, but you cling to them because they make you feel safe. Procrastination protects you from failure. People-pleasing protects you from rejection. Overthinking protects you from taking risks. Constant busyness protects you from feeling emotions. Self-sabotage protects you from responsibility. The old you is not weak, it's protected. That's why changing feels like a threat, because you're removing layers of emotional armor. 3. Old environment. Nothing shapes a person more subtly than their surroundings. Your environment is not neutral. It is either reinforcing your old identity or supporting your new one. The old you was created by repetition, not fate. Now we turn the same forces in your favor. Chapter 5. How to kill old habits without willpower. Most people try to change their habits using sheer discipline. They fight themselves, they get exhausted, they give up, and they assume they're weak. But the problem isn't weakness, it's strategy. You don't kill old habits by battling them. You kill old habits by starving them. Habits survive on triggers, routines, environment, emotional rewards. Change any one of these, and the habit weakens. Change all of them, and the habit dies. Let's make this practical. The 3-step method to destroy old habits. Step 1. Remove the trigger. What starts the old behavior? A time, a feeling, an app, a person, a place, a thought? Identify the trigger, and you weaken the habit's power immediately. No trigger, no routine. Step 2. Replace the reward. You don't break a habit by removing pleasure. You break it by offering better pleasure. Scrolling gives your brain novelty. Replace it with a walk, a breath, a cold splash. Sugar gives comfort. Replace it with movement or hydration. Arguments give you emotional release. Replace them with silence and space. You're not fighting your brain. You're retraining it. Step 3. Rebuild your environment. Your environment determines who wins. The old you or the new you? When your room, your apps, your desk, your social circle, your habits, your daily routines are all aligned with the old identity. Guess who shows up every day? But remove the cues that support the old you and add cues that support the new you, and transformation becomes automatic, not forced. Chapter 6. Emotional Detox. Releasing what you've carried for years. Friend, write your opinion on this topic in the comments. Do you agree with us or not? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. The old you isn't just built from habits, it's built from held emotions. Anger you never expressed, shame you never questioned, disappointment you never healed, guilt that wasn't yours to carry, fear that overstayed its welcome. These emotions become personality traits if you hold them long enough, but they are not you. They are unfinished experiences. A heavy heart shapes a heavy identity, and the old self survives by keeping those emotions alive. So this chapter is about release. Not through talking, not through overthinking, not through reliving pain, but through awareness. You cannot release what you refuse to see. The 4 emotions that hold people back. 1. Shame. Shame whispers, "Who you are is not enough." But shame is a liar. Shame is inherited, not earned. Release it. 2. Fear. Fear is a storyteller that specializes in fiction. Release the predictions that were never real. 3. Guilt. Guilt is often misplaced responsibility for things that weren't your fault. Release the weight that was never meant for your shoulders. 4. Regret. Regret is your mind trying to rewrite the past instead of building the future. Release the illusion that you could have done differently. You were doing your best with the tools you had. Now you have better tools. Chapter 7. Rebuilding the Self. Identity by Design. Now we begin creation. Most people try to build new habits without building a new identity, but habits follow identity. They always have. If you see yourself as the old you, you will behave as the old you. If you see yourself as the new you, your behavior changes instantly. Identity first, action second. This is the formula the world's most successful people follow. The 3 questions that rebuild your identity. Ask yourself, 1. Who must I stop being? Write it down, give it a name, detach from it. 2. Who must I become? Not in 5 years, not when life gets better. Now. 3. How would that version of me act today? Not tomorrow, not next month. Today. Identity becomes real the moment your actions align. The new you is born one decision at a time. Chapter 8. The Future Self. Your new North Star. Every transformation begins with a death, but true rebirth begins with a vision. Not a dream, not a vague hope, not a someday fantasy. A vision, clear, defined, alive. The most powerful strategy in rebuilding your life is creating a future self so compelling that you cannot help but move toward it. The old self survives through memory. The new self is born through imagination. Let me ask you something, and answer honestly, without rushing. Who are you becoming? Not who you used to be. Not who others expect you to be. Not who you settled for before. Who is the person you must become if your life is going to change? Picture that version of you for a moment. How do they speak? How do they think? How do they walk? What do they tolerate? What do they refuse to tolerate? What habits do they follow daily? What boundaries protect their peace? What standards shape their life? What vision gives them direction? You see, the future self is not a fantasy. It is a blueprint. The bridge between you now and the you you're meant to become is made of daily decisions. Small decisions, simple decisions, unimpressive decisions, but decisions that accumulate. Because your future self is created through repetition, not inspiration. The future self-test. Here is a simple rule that will change your life. If an action does not align with the future you, it does not belong in your life. That's it. That's the entire transformation. You stop choosing for comfort. You start choosing for alignment. You stop acting from fear. You start acting from identity. You stop living for the moment. You start living for the person you want to be. When you let the future self guide you, your choices gain direction. Your habits gain meaning. Your emotions lose power. Your fears lose influence. Your old self loses oxygen. Because every decision becomes a vote for the identity you are building. And with enough votes, your future becomes inevitable. Chapter 9. Removing the anchors, people who hold you back. If you appreciate our efforts and our thoughts, subscribe and like this video. We need to show the world that there are many people like us. We must always continue to improve. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Because rebuilding your life requires ruthless honesty. You cannot rise while staying tied to anchors. And sometimes those anchors are people. This does not make them bad. This does not make you ungrateful. This does not make you selfish. It makes you growing. Some people keep you stuck because they only know how to connect with the version of you you are trying to destroy. They need the old you to feel comfortable, to feel superior, to feel unchallenged, to feel unchanged. And when you start rising, they get uncomfortable. They get insecure. They get distant. They get critical. They get suspicious because your growth threatens their stagnation. Listen carefully. Not everyone you love can follow you into your future. Some people are chapters. Some people are sentences. Some people are punctuation marks. Some people are the cover of the book. But very few are the entire story. You owe people kindness. You do not owe them your potential. You owe people respect. You do not owe them your identity. You owe people compassion. You do not owe them your future. How to let go without bitterness. Letting go is not rejection. Letting go is redirection. It is choosing alignment over attachment, peace over people-pleasing, growth over guilt, your future over your past. And the truth is, you don't even need conflict to let go. Distance is enough. Silence is enough. Slowness is enough. When the old identity dissolves, the relationships built on it dissolve with it. But new ones appear. Aligned ones, supportive ones, ones that match your future, not your past. This is the price of rebirth. You lose what was small to gain what is greater. Chapter 10. Strength over emotion. Now we enter the battlefield where most people lose themselves. Their emotions. Not because emotions are bad, but because most people never learned how to guide them, understand them, or question them. You are not rebuilding your life to be emotionless. You are rebuilding to be emotionally empowered. Let's be clear. The old you reacted. The new you responds. The old you panicked. The new you pauses. The old you avoided hard conversations. The new you speaks with clarity. The old you ran from discomfort. The new you uses discomfort as a signal. The old you let emotional storms ruin entire days, weeks, months. The new you knows storms pass when the mind stays steady. Emotional mastery is not suppressing your feelings. It is not letting them control your identity. Here's the truth. Your emotions are messengers. They are not dictators. You can listen without obeying. You can feel without collapsing. You can hurt without surrendering. The strongest version of you is not the one who feels nothing. It's the one who feels everything and still chooses alignment. The questions that create emotional mastery. When an emotion rises, ask 1. Is this emotion based on fact or fear? 2. Is this emotion helping my future self or sabotaging it? 3. What action would the strongest version of me take right now? 3 questions, 3 seconds, a lifetime of control. Emotional stability is the backbone of strategic self-reinvention. When your emotions stop leading, your life stops collapsing. Chapter 11. Discipline. The engine of the new you. You can destroy the old identity. You can define the future self. You can release the past. You can let go of anchors. You can build clarity and emotional power. But without discipline, nothing changes. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not perfection. Discipline is not forcing yourself endlessly. Discipline is self-respect in motion. When you act from discipline, you send a message to your mind. I can trust myself. I follow through. I keep promises to me. I am reliable. This identity of reliability is the foundation of every great transformation. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack internal trust. They don't trust themselves to do what they know they must do. Your mind can't follow a leader it doesn't respect. So becoming disciplined is becoming trustworthy to yourself. The real truth about discipline. People think discipline is hard, but the real pain comes from not being disciplined. Ignoring your goals hurts more. Breaking promises to yourself hurts more. Repeating the same cycles hurts more. Waking up disappointed in yourself hurts more. Knowing you are capable but not consistent hurts more. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Here is the secret. Discipline is easier when it becomes identity, not effort. When you tell yourself, I'm trying to be disciplined, your brain resists. But when you say, I am the type of person who shows up, your brain accepts. Identity creates behavior. You don't force discipline, you become the person for whom discipline is natural. Chapter 12. Systems, making success. Automatic motivation is unreliable. Willpower is inconsistent. Emotion is unpredictable. But systems don't care how you feel. Systems don't change with mood. Systems don't collapse after bad days. Systems don't disappear when you're tired. Systems make success predictable. Every successful person, whether in business, fitness, relationships, creativity, has systems that carry them when motivation dies. Let me tell you something important. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. If your systems are weak, your results will be weak. So what is a system? A system is a simple, repeatable structure that moves you toward your vision with minimal resistance. For example, want health? You need a morning system. Want clarity? You need a thinking system. Want progress? You need a planning system. Want emotional stability? You need a reflection system. Want transformation? You need a daily identity system. A system is not dramatic. A system is not impressive. A system is not complicated. A system is something you can do every single day without burning out. Because radical transformation is built on small, sustainable actions. Chapter 13. Stop self-sabotage at the source. Self-sabotage is not random. Self-sabotage is not weakness. Self-sabotage is not failure. Self-sabotage is conflict between your old identity and your new future. The old self wants comfort. The new self wants progress. The old self wants safety. The new self wants growth. The old self wants ease. The new self wants meaning. When these two identities clash, you sabotage. Every time you get close to change, the old self panics. So it distracts you, it numbs you, it delays you, it overwhelms you, it makes you overthink, it makes you avoid, it makes you quit. Self-sabotage is not the enemy. It's a signal. It means you're entering the territory the old you cannot survive in. Which means, self-sabotage is proof of transformation, because the old identity always resists right before it dies. So don't fear sabotage. Recognize it, decode it, then override it. The 4 questions that destroy self-sabotage. When you find yourself avoiding, procrastinating, or numbing, ask 1. What discomfort am I avoiding right now? Every sabotage hides from a feeling. 2. What part of the old identity is being threatened? This reveals the psychological root. 3. What would the future self do in this exact moment? This shifts your identity instantly. 4. What is the smallest action I can take right now? Not the biggest, the smallest. Momentum destroys sabotage. Chapter 14. Long-term thinking without overwhelm. People collapse under long-term goals because they try to carry the entire journey in their mind at once. But listen carefully. You are not meant to live the entire year today. You are meant to live today. Thinking long-term should bring clarity, not pressure. Strategic long-term thinking is not about doing more. It's about doing less but doing it consistently. Here is the shift. Stop thinking, how will I reach the finish line? Start thinking, what step makes tomorrow easier? Strategic people don't think in leaps. They think in sequences. They ask, what must come first? What must be removed? What must be simplified? What must be clarified? What must be repeated? Overwhelm happens when you focus on the total. Power happens when you focus on the next. Your life changes by mastering one day at a time with a long-term direction and short-term commitment. This is how mountains are moved, not by force, by steady footsteps. Chapter 15. Unbreakable Confidence. Becoming someone you can rely on. Confidence is not loud. Confidence is not ego. Confidence is not pretending to be fearless. True confidence is quiet, grounded, stable. It comes from one place: self-trust. You become confident the moment you become reliable to yourself. Confidence is not a feeling. It is evidence. Evidence that you show up. Evidence that you follow through. Evidence that you do what you said you'd do. Evidence that you don't abandon yourself. Most people don't lack confidence. They lack proof. They keep breaking promises to themselves, so their brain says, I cannot trust you. You say things you don't do. You quit when it gets hard. And the body remembers that history. You don't fix this with affirmations. You fix it with action, small action, consistent action, daily action. When you show up for yourself repeatedly, your mind starts to believe, I can rely on me. I protect my goals. I follow my path. I keep my word. That is unbreakable confidence. Not emotional, but structural. The confidence loop. Here is the formula every unstoppable person follows. Action, evidence, identity, confidence, more action. You take a small action. You gather evidence that you can improve. Your identity shifts. Maybe I am the type who can do this. Confidence grows. You take bigger actions. This is the loop that transforms lives. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It's something you build, one brick at a time. Chapter 16. Mental Resilience. Becoming untouchable. Please like and subscribe if you want a better future. A better future for your children, your family, and yourself. It's very difficult to achieve success today, but I'm sure you'll succeed. All you have to do is learn and discover new things. Life will test you. But here is the difference between the old you and the new you. The old you broke. The new you bends. The old you reacted emotionally. The new you responds strategically. The old you collapsed under pressure. The new you sees pressure as a sharpening tool. Mental resilience is not about feeling strong. It's about becoming unshakable regardless of how you feel. Let's break down the 4 pillars of a resilient mind. 1. Emotional distance. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop personalizing everything. When something goes wrong, you don't ask, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this teaching me? This shift protects your peace. 2. Thought separation. Your thoughts are not commands. Your thoughts are weather. Some storms pass quickly, some linger, but none control the sky. When you learn to observe your thoughts instead of obeying them, your entire life changes. 3. Response over reaction. A reaction is emotional. A response is strategic. A reaction is immediate. A response is intentional. A reaction is survival. A response is growth. Resilience is the space between stimulus and action. 4. The 24-hour rule. Never quit on a bad day. Never make a decision while angry. Never judge your progress while exhausted. Never speak from frustration you haven't processed. Give everything emotional 24 hours. Clarity arrives when emotions settle. Chapter 17. Precision. Execution. Why most people never follow through. People don't fail because they lack desire. People fail because they lack clarity. If your plan is vague, your actions will be random. If your target is blurry, your motivation is scattered. If your steps are undefined, your progress is inconsistent. Execution requires precision. Let's simplify the science. There are only 3 questions you need to answer every day. 1. What must get done? Not what you want to do. Not what feels good. What must be done to move your life forward? 2. What is the smallest version of that action? Big tasks overwhelm. Small tasks activate. If the action feels tiny, you'll do it. If you do it consistently, you'll transform. 3. When will I do it? If it's not scheduled, it's optional. You make your life unshakable by making your priorities non-negotiable. Chapter 18. Rising after setbacks. The art of failing forward. You cannot rebuild your life without setbacks. Failure is not a sign to stop. Failure is part of the formula. Here is the truth no one wants to hear. The new you is built through failures the old you avoided. You will stumble. You will misjudge. You will break routines. You will relapse into old habits. You will lose momentum. But listen carefully. Falling is not the opposite of progress. Staying down is. Every setback holds one of 3 lessons. Lesson 1. You need a better system, not more motivation. Lesson 2. You are closer than you think. Resistance intensifies before breakthrough. Lesson 3. You are becoming the version of yourself who can rise repeatedly. Transformation is not measured by how many times you fall, but how quickly you stand back up. The old you stayed down. The new you rebounds. Chapter 19. Identity Lock-In. How the new you becomes permanent. Identity is not changed by a single decision. Identity is changed by repeated alignment. When you choose the future self more times than you choose the old self, a shift happens. Slowly, quietly, powerfully. One day, you wake up and realize you don't procrastinate like before. You don't react like before. You don't think like before. You don't speak like before. You don't tolerate like before. You don't settle like before. You look at your life and realize the old version simply doesn't fit anymore. That is identity lock-in. The moment the new self becomes your default operating system, your habits reflect it, your boundaries reflect it, your decisions reflect it, your energy reflects it, your relationships reflect it, and most importantly, your future reflects it. Chapter 20. Becoming Unstoppable. The Philosophy of Inevitable Success. There is a moment, somewhere in the journey of transformation, when something profound happens. You stop fighting for your new identity, and your new identity begins fighting for you. Your habits pull you forward. Your vision guides your actions. Your discipline becomes automatic. Your boundaries feel natural. Your decisions become clean. Your emotions settle into clarity. This is the moment you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, not because challenges disappear, not because you suddenly feel confident every day. You become unstoppable because your identity aligns with your destiny. You don't hope you can become great. You expect it. You don't hope you can follow through. You do follow through. You don't hope things will work out. You execute daily until they do. Unstoppable people aren't fearless. Unstoppable people aren't superhuman. Unstoppable people aren't extraordinary. They are simply certain. Certain in their vision, certain in their identity, certain in their direction, certain in their resilience, certain in their ability to rebuild as many times as required. Because once you've rebuilt yourself from zero, nothing can intimidate you anymore. If this audiobook hit something deep within you, take a moment and comment the line that changed you most. Declare it, own it, make it real. If you felt the old you breaking apart and the new you awakening, like the video as a contract with your future self. And if you want more audiobooks that rebuild your mindset, discipline, emotional power, and identity, subscribe to stay on this journey with us. Share this with someone who is ready to rise from zero.